in broad strokes, I think the adventure mechanic's fine. It's RNG, which is kind of what Hearthstone is built upon, but it's not so RNG that you're pulling big gamer rages when you don't get what you want, because it's always something quite solid.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, they're all just tutus, which
Yeah.
are summoned or added, like as added value from other cards, which is pretty cool.
I
But
feel like I'm gonna be very unhappy whenever I get the Arcane Adventurer though, because in a deck where you play cards that are generating adventurers, when are you gonna want +1 spell damage?
yeah, I feel like that one's definitely worse. So what I kind of see when I look at these are four that you wouldn't mind getting and four that you don't want at all. So it seems very 50-50. In my mind,
I
you wouldn't mind getting the Divine Shield. You wouldn't mind getting the Lifesteal. You wouldn't mind getting the Poisonous. No, Poisonous sucks. Oh,
No,
Poisonous.
poisonous is good. What are you,
Yeah, Poisonous is like 50-50. And then
Screamer? What are you
Stealth
saying,
and... Okay.
Screamer?
Yeah, okay. So the ones that just are not good are Taunt, Wind Fury, and Spell Damage.
In my opinion, they are basically all good or at least not bad, except for the spell damage. I think the spell damage is ass. I'm fine getting a 2/2 taunt. It sort of helps with board control. 2/2 divine shield is nutty.
Yeah, I
2/2
was gonna
life
say,
steal
if you
is
could get the
eh.
2/2 Divine Shield, you're going to be happy with any of the cards that you played that summoned it.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
that is easily the strongest one besides the Stealth one. The Stealth one is kind of similar, but
yeah. But
especially in any
in
deck
situations,
that you can buff cards in, the Stealth one's going to be really nice. Or even the
yeah.
Rush one, man. Like, the Rush one could come up.
Yeah, the rush one is fine. Again, I think it depends a lot on the context of where you're getting it from.
Okay.
Like, for example, if you're getting one of these from the 3/2 Death Rattle, you really want a high tempo card. But if you're
Yeah.
getting it from the 7 mana summon spell, you want a sort of wide variety, because you might want healing, you might want to rush something down, you might want to taunt in the way. There's a lot of things you may want.
Okay, well,
But overall, I think Arcane Adventure is a piece of shit.
True. Yeah, I don't think that one's ever going to come up in any of the list. So let's go ahead and scroll down and talk about Lady Anaconda, 6 mana, 3
Nah,
7.
go, scroll down a little more, and it starts the actual mini
Oh,
set. Like, scroll down to where Demon Hunter starts, and it does it class by class.
okay, sweet, sweet, sweet. So we'll start
Because
with Demon Hunter.
otherwise they're
Here
just
we go.
gonna those 3 cards are just gonna show up again.
Yeah. Alright, so first one. I like this card, Sigil of Summoning. At the start of your turn, summon 2/2/2 demons with taunt. Now, my take on this card, right off the back, it is a 2 mana 4/4 that cannot attack on its first turn.
Oh no,
That
they can't attack
the turn that is summoned, right?
yeah.
So, like, stats per cost is crazy. Because there's nothing in the game right now that interacts with sigils. So it's going to resolve. And then, if you're playing this on turn 2 where your opponent has, like, the coin and they're just tempoing off stuff, when you're going into turn 3, that means they just played a 2-drop. On average, their 2-drop is not going to be anywhere near your 2 mana 4/4. And I think it has a lot of potential. I think out of all the sigil cards, the 2 that we have already, this one trumps them by a lot.
I think that Sigil of Summoning is definitely a solid card that could see play in the future, but right now I don't really think it has a home in any of the major Demon Hunter decks. Like, for
I
example,
think
would you play
that's
this in
a...
combo? No, I don't think. I think Sigil of Flame is much better if you're just looking to stall the board. Would you play this in Death Rattle? No, not really.
But
I
another thing that we do know is, so the normal token, not really token, but so the original styles of like aggro, right?
I was
Those were
gonna put some
solid
aggro
decks.
though.
What
Yeah, that was solid
what
decks.
sucked about solid, or what sucked about aggro right now is a lot of the good tools have rotated out. Okay, this
Yeah, like
is...
Twin Slice, shit like that. Yeah.
Yeah, but not that, but like some of the tempo cards, like you don't got the 1 mana 2/2 anymore. Like the 1-drops
Yeah,
in the game
yeah.
are kind of bad. There's not generically any really good 2-drops anymore. So I think this just being able to summon 4/4 worth of stats for 2 mana is kind of nuts. And sure, it might not be good right now, but potentially I see it falling into an aggro archetype. Uh, I guess maybe if there's some control big demon hunter, I can see potential with this
Yeah.
because you are getting 2 taunts, but I don't think in either of those right now it's going to see play. But I do think this card is gonna pop up eventually.
I think, yeah, I agree with you on a lot of those points. I'm not sure about its viability in some current kind of aggro
Okay.
demon hunter deck, but it kind of reminds me of Vile Call. You know, the 3 mana summon 2/2/2 demons with lifesteal.
Yeah.
It reminds me of that in a lot of ways because it comes out on 3 really,
Yeah. So
and they're both quite defensive.
what I was thinking about was the Druid card we have in standard right now, 3 mana summon 2/2/2 treants.
Yeah, landscaping. That's the card.
So
It does remind me of that as well.
yeah, so would you play landscaping for 2 mana, right? But you still had to play it on 3.
Yeah, I still think it's solid. It's definitely an okay, or if not solid card, and will probably see play in Demon Hunter at some point. But I don't think it'll see play immediately as it comes out.
Okay, so let's move on to the next one then, since we talked about it.
Speaking of big Demon Hunter though,
Yeah, exactly.
Tainted Heart Tormentor.
Oh my god.
Your opponent's spells cost 2 more.
This card seems crazy, but
This card
God.
is the counter to Lady Anaconda.
Yeah, exactly. But like,
But
the thing is, Big Demon Hunter, the fall of Big Demon Hunter is not that we don't have enough big demons, because we already have at least 3 we can play right now, and in big decks, having 6 minions is usually enough if that's what you're trying to do. It's that, like, everything else leading up to them is so bad. Like, there's not a lot of control.
That's the main problem.
Like, you could try to do, like, some aggro mid-range stuff to try to get you there, but then if you draw your big guys, you're not doing anything for so many turns. And the thing is, Demon Hunter doesn't have access to enough control. Like, the best card they have to control is the 5 mana deal 4 to the entire board, right?
Chaos Nova, yeah.
That's like the best actual control card. Besides that, Demon Hunter's control is far and few, especially with all the cards that got rotated out of Demon Hunter, which made the strategy of getting to late game even harder. So, while I do think it's a great card and the effect is absolutely crazy, I don't think it's going to see play until at least the next set where they give Demon Hunter more cards to survive.
Well, I definitely agree with you on a lot of those points. I think it's very good. I think it's probably the best, the second best big demon.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's definitely
Demon
not
Hunter
the
right
best
now. Only to Rag, you know.
Yeah.
But
crazy.
I really just don't think it has a home at the present. I mean, if Lady Anaconda, you know, Celestial Alignment Druid gets really nutty, then maybe you slot this in, because as we'll see in our next card, I think Death Rattle Demon Hunter, that sort of Death Rattle Nizos combo Demon Hunter,
We'll just go ahead and talk about the next
quite
one.
viable.
We'll just go ahead and talk to that, because this
card,
this
card
crazy.
is a fucking 2-pronged attack. It is nutty. First off, Beast Tag for your Nizos. That works with the Nizos Death Rattle hybrid list. Secondly, Razor Boar. It's insane. It's done. This card is very good. It's one of the best in the set.
So the best thing I think about this card, and we'll talk about it later, the neutral 3 mana Death Rattle, is in the past the only 3 mana card you can pull besides Razorfin was the 2/4 heal yourself, right? And what sucked about what sucked about that card was it seems like the rest of the deck has a lot of like really fast aggro stuff, and then you pull out this random defense card.
Yeah, it's just not proactive enough. That's the main problem, and that's why I think you'll see Death's Head Cultist cut from Death Rattle Demon Hunter lists after this happens in favor of the 3 mana 3/2, the other 3 mana 3/2, because it's more proactive, and that's what Demon Hunter more wants to be doing. But I definitely think this card lends a lot more viability towards Death Rattle Demon Hunter.
Even outside of Death Rattle Demon Hunter, I think this is still a crazy card. Like, it's not a demon, and the thing with Big Demon Demon Hunter, right, is you're only pulling out demons from your deck. The demon tag is very important. It's different from a lot of the other big decks we've seen, because like Big Priest, Big Druid, they pull out anything, right? It doesn't matter. It's very, very not often, right, that we would find a big deck that has an entire tag to it, we could say. So this is also another one of those cards that it's really good to help you get to the late game if that's what you're trying to do. Because a 3-mana 3/2 rush, on average, will kill the board. Because think about it. What's the best 3-mana card right now that your opponent can play, stat-wise, and with a good effect? It's the dude that puts Ogre in your deck, right?
Razorfen. Yeah, oh yeah, Manric. Yeah, Manric's best 3-drop in the game.
Yeah.
You know, far and wide. Even after the nerfs, it's still by far the best.
If your opponent's going Mancrick, right?
That kills Manric. Yeah.
It gets rid of him, and that's.
I think you're right. The card does stand on its own, even not in the death rattle shell. I think you're right. It's very good. There aren't a lot of decks that, you know, swarm the board very hard right now, so I'm not sure how effective the deal 1 damage to all enemy minions is. But even if it's, you know, your opponent's board isn't particularly wide, it's still quite good. It's still dealing 4 damage. And it's still probably popping some divine shields here and there, you know, because Paladin is very prominent in the meta right now. And you got the beast tag on there. I mean, it's like a 2-pronged attack, you know. You got the beast tag on there, so it gets res from your N'Zoth on 9, and it's very good. This is the optimal card to get from N'Zoth, because when you're playing N'Zoth, you also want to be proactive on board on the same turn. You want to be getting out rushes, you want to be getting out charges, you want to be getting out taunts, things like that.
100%.
That's why I think this card is very good. I'm not sure if it's good enough to push Death Rattle Demon Hunter and to actually bring in the deck you bring to tournaments, you bring to Conquest, but I definitely think it makes it much better.
So from what I saw, Death Rattle Demon Hunter is currently the 6th best deck to climb with, under 3 Paladins, Hunter, and there's like Hunter, and then what's the other deck? Token Druid. Yeah. So after those 5 decks,
yeah, I was gonna say,
yeah, Death Rattle Demon Hunter was the next best option to play. And you know, we did see the nerfs that happened, so Paladin is getting hurt a little bit with the amount of, mainly the amount of 1-drops they get.
I like the Pally nerfs.
And slightly lower health after they go ahead and Hand of Adal, which I think is going to be big, especially to counteract how wide they can go. So I think this deck's going to move up. I think it's going to move up from where it's at. I don't think it's going to be better versus Token Druid, but it is going to be a little faster. That, like,
no, okay. I think the Fel Rattle will definitely help against Token Druid.
So hard. I don't know. So
I mean, Token Druid is always a tough matchup. When Token Druid does what it wants to do, it's always almost unbeatable. But I think this Fel Rattler does help quite a lot for board AoE against Token Druid.
I think this card helps so much versus Face Hunter. Okay.
Yeah, of course. You know why? One card, Collect Pack Hunter.
Exactly.
That piece of shit. It gets the 2/3 and it gets all the little 1/1 shitters it puts out from Adorable Infestation, from Wound Prey, from shit like that. It's great. So, I think this really strengthens the Hunter matchup.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this deck. I'm really looking forward to it. So let's move on. We talked about that card for a while. We're moving on to Druid now. Probably the least exciting one first. You got 3-mana 4/3. Good stats for the cost, I guess. Taunt, Death Rattle.
Good stats for the cost.
Yeah, Taunt, Death Rattle. Reduce the cost of a beast in your hand by 2. I think it's absolute shit.
I don't think it's really good enough to see play. No, I think overall the effects of it are okay, but I don't think what we're going to be seeing Druid doing after the set comes out is playing taunts. I think we're going to be seeing it Celestial Alignmenting and Lady Anacondaing, and that's the thing, that this can't really keep up with the other things that Druid can do early game. Why are you playing this instead of playing Token? And if you're looking at it from the late game angle with the big beast that's coming out that we'll get to in a second, once you get that late in the game, why aren't you just playing Clowns and Survival of the Fittest? It doesn't
Yeah,
really fit in
100%.
anywhere. There's no real mid-range archetype. This might go in that. Have you seen Jambrae's weird like Umbral Owl?
I saw it
Weird.
and I played it. I wasn't
Yeah.
a huge fan of the deck. It seemed like it did some powerful stuff. We were unlucky and played a lot of face hunters and stuff at that time. So, to me, the deck just felt a little too slow.
Yeah. I mean that
He definitely
that deck's not very good, but I think it fits in that. The thing is, this card is sort of geared towards an idea of either taunt druid or some kind of mid-range druid. Mid-range druid doesn't really exist right now, and taunt druid is not good. So I don't think the card
the thing is,
will
like,
be that good.
any discount card, right? Like, at any time it could come in, absolutely break the meta, but this isn't one of them. It's not even close to one of them because right now, because Druid also has the is it 3 mana go dormant, then it awakens and discounts a card by 5.
Yeah. Oh my God, what is that card called? It's called like Imprisoned Satyr or something. Let me look it up in
Something like that. But that card has been relevant since it's been printed. And
yeah.
from a discount standpoint, if you're trying to discount something to win the game, that's probably the better card to play than this, unless you specifically want to discount a beast. But all in all, I don't think it's good, so we'll just move on. If it does see play, I'll be super surprised.
We'll move on to the other two cards that may... Well, okay, one of them may be good, one of them is definitely insane.
Yeah.
Lady Anaconda.
Crazy.
You want to just take this one here?
Yeah, so 6 mana, 3/7, right? Your nature spells cost 2 less, period. Not once per turn, not freaking whatever else you could think of. It's period. So, as a base card, this is a 6 mana, 3/7 that has to be dealt with. If it's not, the following turns are wild, but where this card really shines.
Even if you take Celestial Alignment out of the picture, this card is still insane. This card still gets played in token. This card still allows you to rampage on the board. But once you add that Celestial in, it's insane. It is broken. I think this card will be nerfed.
Well, see, so that's where our opinions differ, because I truly feel like in Token Druid, this will not be played. Mainly because of the mana cost. Token Druid has 4 expensive cards. 2 of them summon on the board. 2 of them buff, right? Besides that, discounting for 2, I feel like by that time, you've either already won the game or you've already lost. Like, I don't think Lady Anaconda in your hand is specifically that good. I did mention, if you compare it to the 3 mana, 3/4 that discounts the next spell you play by 3 mana. Very rarely is this card better than that card in Token Druid, and that card has already been tested thoroughly by myself and a lot of other streamers. And
Nordrassil Druid. That card is not viable.
Exactly.
But the thing is, I think you're right that if you're just hard playing this on turn 6 and passing, then it's not very good.
Exactly.
But I think Druid has an insane amount of ability to push things out early, so I think if you can even bloom this out on 4, it's very, very good, because it's hard to deal with, and if it sticks, you essentially win the game.
4, there's a lot of potential for this card to be really good. So I'm gonna open up Hearthstone real quick, and we're gonna look at the natured spells, so we can get
I've got Hearthstone open right now. I mean,
just
all the good spells are nature. Innervate is nature. Lightning Bloom is nature. Nature Studies is nature.
Yeah, but see, all those cards are already 1 mana, and I feel like by that time, especially if you're playing those cards in Token Druid, they've already been played.
Well, don't worry. Like, more for you.
That or your hand's so big, right? Your hand's so big that you're already on the board and you're winning.
Yeah.
So, okay, I achieved Legend rank. Thank you. I did indeed. Okay, I gotta collect my box real quick.
Sweet.
Sick. A lot of packs and cards that
What's
I already
in the
have.
box?
What's in that box? Turkeys, mollies.
Solar Eclipse is nature.
And look,
Thorngrowth Sentry is nature.
I thought
Fungal Fortune is nature.
I thought Solar Eclipse and Lunar Eclipse were arcane spells.
No, Lunar Eclipse is arcane. Solar Eclipse is nature.
So that's pretty good.
Arbor Up is nature.
So I know Arbor
Soul of the
nature,
Forest
right?
is nature.
So, in my mind, the craziest thing you could do when you drop her, right, is Arbor up at the same time. Okay? Or not just Arbor up, but Solar Eclipse Arbor up, right? So, if you're doing Solar Eclipse Arbor up...
But that's already like turn 9. I mean, you really...
By turn 9, you've definitely already won or you've already lost. It's pretty apparent.
You want to be sticking her pretty early. That's why I think you want to be innovating her out or blooming her out or getting her out early in some form. That's where she really gets nutty in the token druid shell.
So another thing to think about.
But then again, she may not be playable. I mean, it does kind of fuck with your what's it called, fungal fortunes. And it does kind of mess with it in that way.
And then another thing to think about, right, is when you're playing token druid, do you know how bad it feels to naturally draw like your Arbor up in your opening hand, or sometimes
trust me, I know. I played token druid to legend.
Imagine drawing a 6-mana card that's only good if you also have 0-mana lightning bloom to bloom it out.
Yeah, I can understand that, but I still feel like it's...
Let's move on past Token Druid, okay? We talked about it a lot.
Yeah. I mean, the real place where it definitely shines for sure. I think it'll see experimentation in Token Druid. May be good, may not. Celestial. We'll see. But where it's going to shine, where it's going to fuck the game up, and where I think the reason for its nerfing is going to come about is Celestial Alignment Druid, because it's going to be insane. You're going to play Celestial on 7, you're going to play Lady Anaconda on 8, you're going to Nourish, you're going to get a Gadgets and Auctioneer out, then you're going to draw your entire deck, and you're going to win the game.
So, where I differ, so when I played Celestial Alignment, I wasn't a huge fan of the Auctioneer, but this card definitely makes Auctioneer pretty crazy.
The Auctioneer does get better when all your spells are free.
Yeah, when they're all 0 mana. Yeah, so there's also the thing that after Celestial Alignment, if you have Mali, you win the game. Like 9 times out of 10, if you have Nourished Mali, you've probably already won the game. And what's cool about Lady Anaconda is she's kind of like that second card in the deck that if you have her post Celestial, she'll almost guarantee you win you the game, much like Malagos. So having another target for that is pretty good. Now, the thing that does suck about Celestial Alignment that we've already known and found out over testing in time is the amount of aggro decks make it really hard to activate Celestial Alignment and not die or come close to death the following turn. So if we're still having that problem, that might pose some type of risk. But if it's not good right now, right? If it's not good in the current meta, when Druid gets some type of defensive, like AoE, good removal, anything like that, this deck is going to be a force to be reckoned with, period.
I mean, all I'm saying is that Scenario Ward and Solar Eclipse are nature spells, and I'm just going to leave it at that. You know?
I know, it's great.
Druid has problems with aggro. Drop this, gain 16 armor, smile, Twitch smile emoji.
Okay, well let's move on. I think we've covered this one enough. Pretty much potential in Token Druid, a lot of potential in Celestial Alignment.
I virtually guarantee Lady Anaconda will see play.
The only other archetype we didn't talk about is Clown or Big, and this doesn't fit in that deck, period.
No. But I don't think those decks will be as good as what Miracle Druid is going to be.
Yeah, that's true. So let's move on to the last Druid card. We got an 8-mana 4/9, Deviated Dread Fang. After you cast a nature spell, summon a 4/2 Viper with Rush. Now, this card is very 50-50 to me. So how I look at it is as a base card, I don't think it's that good because it's an 8-mana 4/9. Okay, it does nothing. It's just an 8-mana 4/9. So cheaper card than some big dragons, I guess. But it's only good if you can combo it with a nature spell. Okay, there's expensive nature spells, there's cheap ones. So we're just going to go ahead and evaluate the nature tag as 1 mana, okay? Because there's a lot of 0 mana ones, there's 2 mana ones, so we're just going to say 1 mana, right?
Yeah.
For 9 mana, you're going to get a 4/2 that can rush and a 4/9 body that has to be dealt with, okay? So at that aspect, you're looking at like a 9 mana 8/11 with potential to rush in and kill something small. Only something small. If it's a big minion, this doesn't do anything to it. So, for that aspect, I think it doesn't fit a deck. I think potential and Celestial Alignment, because if you Lady Anaconda, drop this, and start popping off, it's absolutely crazy. I think in Big Druid right now, there's no card that you would take out to put this in. You wouldn't take out Clowns. Your 5 mana beasts are in your deck for a reason, to get pulled out. Besides that, I don't think there's any other big card. I guess you could potentially cut the Elemental, but the Elemental's in there to draw you your 10 mana buff. I just don't think it fits anything.
I pretty much agree. Yeah, I mean, I think the card is playable. It's obviously solid when you get it off Living Seed or Fangbound Druid, but when you're doing stuff like that, you're thinking, I mean, that's still at the best of times, even only kind of okay. I really don't think it'll see that much
I think
play.
This card is going to be crazy when you're playing Celestial Druid and you randomly get it off of a Cenarian Ward. That will be absolutely nuts.
Yeah, that'll be the time when the card really shines.
And then you're gonna...
Let's think of this card as a buff to your Cenarian Ward.
Yeah, exactly.
That's about it. I just don't think it quite fits in anywhere
now
at the present.
I think if this was 8 mana 4/9, it has Rush, and when you cast a nature spell. So if it had the Rush tag on the card also, I think it would be a good card.
I think Rush still wouldn't put it over the edge.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Maybe.
I just think it's good enough to potentially play a lot more, because then like now you're kind of summoning a card that can deal with another big card, but as stands you're only able to deal with small stuff, which is sad. But we'll move on.
I think it would just have to cost 1 less, and then even then, does that make it OP? I mean, I don't think the card sees play at the present. If Druid gets more beast support, maybe it will.
Yeah.
Hunter got some weird
support.
shit this expansion. Hunter got some strange cards.
It's weird. So
I looked over what Hunter got. Okay, first one.
Serpent Bloom.
What Serpent Bloom reminds me of? Okay, 0 mana, give a friendly beast poisonous. What this reminds me of is the original, like, very early days of Hearthstone Hunter's Mark. And I know they're not exactly the same, but it's very good. Well, it's very cheap removal for Hunter, and I think that's quite good.
I like that comparison a lot, because back then you would Hunter's Mark something, and then you'd run a minion in. So normally you were losing the minion you were running in. The difference between that, though, is, okay, this is 0 mana, and it's only target a friendly beast. Okay?
Yeah.
So you need to be running good on board, and, like, the only, like, relevant type of Hunter right now is Face Hunter. This card does not fit in Face Hunter, because, I mean, at best, you're lucky and you put it on something to kill a really big taunt, but you have the 4 mana card that deals 6 damage for your taunts. That's your removal for that, with the added benefit of potentially doing damage. And that's the only card I would see you replacing that with. And at the end of the day, that's cutting damage from a face deck to counteract taunts more. But I just don't think the card's good. I don't think it's good at all. It is a 0 mana card, so you never know. But
I think the card is good. It just doesn't fit in
an archetype.
The present only viable Druid archetype. Sorry, Hunter archetype. I think it's good if you start seeing a lot of large minions or large taunts popping up that Hunter needs to deal with. It's good, cheap removal, but Hunter doesn't really need that right now. It needs to go face very hard.
Exactly. I will say the one thing I do love about the card is its artwork is absolutely amazing.
That is adorable, yeah.
10 out
more
of
like
10.
Tiny Finn.
Would love to have
look at the little frog. I mean,
oh, I can't wait to see it in golden, honestly. I wonder if it's Tails Wagon. It better be.
Yeah.
Okay.
These other 2 cards are also very strange to look at, and you're not sure why they printed them. Yes. I mean, Serpent Bloom, I think Serpent Bloom is the best out of the cards Hunter got. Because this one, Sindori Scent Finder, 4 mana, 1/6, Frenzy, summon 4/1/1 hyenas with Rush.
Like, Dude, it's
So
just
how do you activate this? How do you damage your own minions as Hunter?
you
I
don't.
mean,
You're
the
hoping.
only way I can think of is wound praying it,
Well,
and
no.
even then,
So
you'd rather wound pray face.
exactly. So what you're hoping for with this card is that you play it. They don't proc your frenzy. You proc it on your turn. You summon 4 rush guys, and they get to go in to finish off the kill, which is cool because it makes sense. You got the girl with the bow. She probably shot something, but she's not a good enough shot. Her dogs are there to fuck them up. But
Makes
yeah,
complete sense.
it's so bad. I think I
I
don't
don't
see
think
it.
it sees any play,
No, not
and
one. No.
even
Now, if this card had Rush to begin with, it would
yeah,
be
then it would
really
be
good.
nutty, maybe too good.
Yeah, maybe too
But
good.
I don't think it sees play. I don't think it'll really ever see play unless Hunter gets something sort of similar to Fell Guardians, where if you have many minions die on board, you get something good. But I
Exactly.
don't think that's really sort of key to the Hunter archetype. I don't think the card's good. Maybe you're kind of happy if
And
you
it
draft
and
it
it
in an
doesn't have
arena.
like any type of tag. Like I know you're summoning
Yeah,
back Beast, but just a 4-mana 1/6, like, come on, really?
yeah,
Uh,
it's a poor stat line, and a lot of the time you don't get it procced. I don't like it.
I think if this card wasn't a Hunter card, change the picture, change the name, keep it with Frenzy, summon 4 1/1s, blah blah blah, a Warrior card that you could potentially get
Yeah.
back off with Sourfang after
Dude,
Sourfang does 1
we'll get
damage to
on to
it.
how viable Sourfang is and Frenzy and Warrior quite
Okay.
soon. I have a lot of thoughts on that.
Okay.
If
So
this was if you could set about a lot of frenzy cards. If this was in Warrior, it'd be good. But
yeah,
it's not.
yeah, it's
So
not.
it's not.
Okay.
Frenzy is just naturally good in Warrior.
Let's move on.
Venom Strike Bow is also a card that
Dude.
costs 4 and is not good.
So 4-mana 1/2, poisonous. So when you attack, you're killing whatever you attack, if it doesn't have Divine Shield.
hmm
So Hunter.
Hunter, a big problem with Face Hunter right now is that if you don't accomplish your game plan, you die pretty quick.
So
Hunter has never really had the ability to use its health total to, a reasonable effect. And also, in the same expansion, they've released a much better
yeah,
piece of big thing removal.
exactly.
So I don't think this card is going to see any play. It's pretty cut and dry. Card no good.
So in my mind, right, another Hunter deck that's lurking in the shadows is the Otk Hunter, right? And what's the problem with
Yeah.
that deck is kind of the same thing that Face Hunter has, is that you die really quick. You die really quick in today's Hearthstone. The question
Yeah.
is this enough to help you not die? What sucks about this card is you're taking damage every time you attack something to
Yeah.
remove it.
I mean, it's okay. It's okay if you have like an Ace Hunter Queen on the board, but if you have an Ace
Yeah, if
Hunter
you have
Queen on the
Crane
board, you're
this
already
card
winning the
becomes really
game.
solid.
Yeah. Yeah.
For sure. Every 0-mana card has been OP in Hearthstone history. Lol. Yep. That's what I was thinking about Serpent Bloom, but
Yeah.
like in
Serpent Bloom is a
Hunter,
good card. I just don't think it'll see play. At least
yeah,
not right now.
it's-
Hunter doesn't want to remove big things. It wants to
I
kill
don't
you by
think
turn
so.
7.
Yeah, it just
But
and you also got to think. Did Hunter ever have another 0-mana card like that was absolutely broken?
Hunter's Mark, but then
Yeah,
that got
but
changed. 1 second. I'll look.
yeah, I'm trying to
I'll look
think of
through
any
the
other
wild
0-mana
archives.
one. Because I know most of the 0-mana cards feel like they've been in Priest, honestly,
Hunter.
and that's
No.
and Druid.
Hunter is never every other class except
Except
every
Hunter.
other class except for Hunter has had a 0-mana card before.
Exactly. So,
Hunter is never.
and that's the thing. I guess it's kind of cool that you could summon the 2-mana or the 2-mana 2/3 that when you cast the spell you summon a beast, right?
Yeah, it works well
Because
with that.
you get an extra
And
beast
if
with
there-
Rush, and you could target one
If
of
there
those.
is if there's a target for it, it will see play. I just don't think there's a target for it. The bow,
Exactly.
however, definitely is not going to see play.
So I disagree. I think out of these 3 cards, the bow is the best one.
No, I think Serpent Bloom is hands down quite easily the best.
Okay, so when I look at this card, I think No, not quick shot. 3 mana, deadly shot. Right. 3 mana, destroy random enemy minion. Deadly shot has been playing Hunter time and time again. Would you spend 1 more extra mana to be able to target it and kill another minion afterwards?
The thing is, now in Hunter, you have a much better piece of removal with Serpent Bloom. Also now in Hunter, you don't want to be playing Deadly Shot at the present at least because it fucks with your Manric pool. Because you want to be pulling Manric's wife a lot more often.
Yeah,
from your
I'm talking
Arachnodobain.
outside of Face Hunter. I'm talking about potential other archetypes.
Well, I think basically every archetype of Hunter runs the Barrack Codobane Manric combo.
Yeah,
it's just very solid
true.
tempo.
That's pretty true. Okay, we'll move on. Hunter didn't get the most exciting cards. I'm not gonna lie. Probably the least exciting class.
Serpent Bloom is kind of exciting to me. I think it has some potential, but overall, yeah, this bow is bad. The Scent Finder is bad. Serpent Bloom's okay. It's not going to see play. Okay, that's the TLDR for Hunter.
Let's move on to the Mage.
Mage has got some cards.
They're weird, man.
Certainly.
Okay, so Shattering Blast. 3 mana to destroy all frozen minions. When I first read this card, I was like, holy crap. Hey, Psycho Crazy, what's up, man? How you doing? I was like, dude, this is kind of nuts. Okay, but then you think about it, we don't have the access to freeze cards that we used to. We have
there's no Frostbolt, there's no Frost Nova.
We have Flurry, and then we have the Legendary. And the Legendary...
Yeah, the 4 mana 3/3. Oh my god, what's his name? I gotta look that up now.
Yeah, Varden Dawn Grasp. So...
Yeah.
If you follow Varden up with this, that's 6 mana to clear the board. You're almost
it's a legendary. You can only run 1, so it's a pretty inconsistent combo.
Exactly, and then on top of that, you're 1 mana away from just being able to Flame Strike, and Flame Strike usually clears the whole board anyways.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's just not good, man. I was hoping for a cooler Frozen card because we have already seen the Frostweave Dungeoneer, but this was not the one I was hoping for. I was thinking more.
The long and short of my assessment of Mage is that I think none of these Frozen cards, and furthermore, Frozen Mage isn't gonna really see play this expansion. But I think these cards do have potential if more support is given.
Okay.
Because Flowcaster reminds me a lot of. Do you remember that card, Cabal Crystal Runner?
If you played Secrets.
It reminds me of that a lot, and that card definitely did see play. I mean, sometimes you Kona Cold, which now costs 3 mana on turn 3. If you get that on 3 minions, which happens sometimes
Do you think
on turn 3,
that's
a 0 mana 5/5.
I think Flowcaster's gonna see play in Wild.
Mana discounts are always good, hands down, and Flowcaster will sneak its way into a deck if more Frozen support is added. But at the present, I don't think there's enough Frozen support. Really.
So we could talk about the Dungeoneer. So we've already talked about pretty much Flowcaster. It's not good because the Frozen cards aren't good. So Frostweave Dungeoneer, these have already been released. We have 3, I think, cards that are very similar altogether. Battlecry, draw a spell. If it's a Frost spell, summon 2/1/1 elementals that freeze. The effect, if you draw a Frozen spell, is actually really solid. You're summoning a 3 mana 4/5 in a sense, and elementals that freeze is really good, like really really good. But you can't guarantee a Frost spell. So when I read any of these cards, I read it as Battlecry, draw a spell. In Mage, do you want Battlecry, draw a spell? Probably not, because you don't want to run any minions right now. Any minions.
That's why all of Mage is kind of in a tricky position right now, because you look at trying to do new things in Mage, and then you think, oh, why am I not playing no minion Mage?
Okay, hear me out. Hear me out.
Yeah.
I don't know how good it is.
I'm hearing you.
I don't know how good it is. So you run Dungeoneer. Your only minion in your deck, or the only spell in your deck, is Wildfire. So now you have potentially 4, like either natural draw it, or you can draw it from your deck. Then you play Mordresh deck. Boom, broken.
Yeah, buddy.
That's how
you're gonna break this.
I just broke it. Okay, let's move on to Paladin.
I have a big grin on my face right now.
Priest is like... I mean, I still think Mage's cards are better than Hunter, though. Like,
Well, yeah. I think Mage got 3 cards with potential that aren't going to see play. Hunter got 1
Exactly.
card with potential that's not going to see play. But if you just want to have a quick overview of the frost spells, I mean, Brain Freeze, Cone of
Yeah,
Cold,
they're
Ice
not good.
Barrier. Some of them are okay. Oasis Ally, Deep Freeze.
I do
I
think
mean, maybe
this
maybe
Frost
you play
package is
Flurry.
going to be really cool and wild because, you know, Freeze Mage has already been a deck. And then potentially, if you are playing a control deck in Wild that still runs Frost
Yeah,
Nova, you can follow that up with a 0 mana 5/5, which is good. Or follow it up with a Kill Everything, which is good. Even
yeah.
Blizzard, yeah, who knows? I just think in Wild, these freeze packages are a lot better than what we have in Standard. But that's with a lot of cards, anyways.
Yeah, a lot of Mage's freeze got taken away by the set rotation. We lost Frostball. We lost from the set rotating itself, not from the
Exactly.
basic the classic. We lost Ray of Frost. We lost Cone of Cold. We lost no, sorry, we didn't lose Cone of Cold. Cone of Cold is still with us. Praise the Lord.
I'll definitely still try to
We
play a
lost
freeze mage
Frost
deck,
Nova.
but
A
I don't
freeze
know.
mage deck will not be good, but it will be fun to watch you bang your head against the wall, waiting for more support to come out.
Watch me hit legend with it. All right. So,
What? I will give 5 subs. Okay,
uh,
clip this. I will give 5 subs if streamer hits legend with free
hey, you never know.
with
Okay.
freeze mage
Look.
with frost spell mage.
Okay.
Oh my
Hitting
gosh.
legend only means that I just have to grind to rank 1 with 3 stars and hope I win the game. Okay. Like, I just gotta queue up freeze mage at that exact moment and hope I win, and then just keep getting back there. We'll do it. We'll
I'm
do
gonna
it.
file for bankruptcy if you do that. I don't have
Uh,
the money for that.
okay, Paladin.
Let's move on to Paladin. Yeah.
3 mana, 2/3.
Mm.
Shield Cloud Buckler. Death Rattle, give your minions Divine Shield. Uh, this card.
I what?
What do you think? Tell me your thoughts.
Uh, I think first of all, you have to look at in most decks you really don't want to be playing too many weapons if you are playing them at all. And
Exactly.
if in every single no, and when I say every single, I mean every single Paladin deck right now,
Mm-hmm.
people are running 2 Swords of the Fallen because it's
Yep.
broken as shit. So I don't think Seed
And then
Cloud
also
Buckler
the
is
6
going to
mana
be that
weapon.
viable.
The 6 mana weapon is also
Branch
random
Hammers of the
every
Naru,
turn.
so that's already 4 slots. 4 slots is how many weapons the uh, pirate warrior ran back when it was at its strongest. You don't
Mm-hmm.
want to be really playing more. You don't want to be really playing less. 2
So
copies of 2 good weapons is what you want to have.
exactly.
And Seek Out Buckler, on top of being a sort of extra weapon, is also a very slow weapon, having 3 durability.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's still quite a good
Jack,
card.
what's
I
up,
definitely
man?
think
Card
it's
games
better.
notice me. What's up, man? How are you doing? Hope your day is going amazing. Sorry that I wasn't reading chat for a second. I apologize.
I definitely think it regarding giving Divine Shield to your minions. I definitely think it's better than that. What was that 3 mana 4/5 that's dormant for 2 turns? I think it's better than that because with this you don't just have a 1 turn window
Yeah.
where you can give your minions Divine Shield. With this you can choose when your minions to get Divine Shield, which I think works quite well on turns where you flood the board. If you were to do this with like a what's it called?
So, how
Day
do
at
you
the Fair,
feel?
the 3 mana summon 3 dudes. If it's corrupted summon 5, I think it's quite good with that. I think if you were building
Yeah.
Dude Paladin, if you were some kind of psychotic monster man, it would fit well in that. And I also think it works quite well with the 7 mana spell that got released, Party Up, because having 5
Two
2/2s
twos,
with
yeah.
various effects and also all of them having Divine Shield is quite solid. But overall, I don't think it'll see play.
So,
At least
I
not for
think
now.
about a couple things when I think about this card. The first one is compared to the Murloc weapon as a 3 mana weapon. The Murloc one is a 3 mana 3/2. After you attack, add a Murloc to your hand, which generates you 1 damage to the face or clearing a board with the weapon. Um, than value to actually develop a minion. So I don't think this card is better than that in a sense, but I also look at this card as if in Paladin right now, if you play this card, right? The thing is, so you were saying 4 weapons is bad. If you play 6
No, I'm
weapons...
saying 4 weapons is optimal, but
yeah,
we're already
yeah,
playing 4 weapons.
4 weapons is optimal, right? If you add this card and you go up to 6 weapons, okay? You could attack, like, say you only attack once with this. Let's go. The Witcher now following. Love you, man. I appreciate the follow so much. You have no idea. We're so close to this giveaway. So what I was thinking...
How many are we at now?
We are at 95. I have to update the counter. So if you are running 6 weapons, right? If you only attack with this once, why not just equip another weapon over this to trigger the Divine Shield on your board whenever you want?
I thought about that. Yeah. And
so, like,
that's kind of okay in some situations. But
see,
I mean, I don't know. What are you cutting for this card? I mean,
that's another thing to think about in a lot of decks right now. Is they're so refined. Like, what decks do you cut, or what cards do you cut?
Like, I'm looking at my exhaust list right now. Am I cutting Redtail Dragon Tamer for this? No. Am I cutting Nerfed First Day at School? Maybe, actually, but probably not for this.
I think that card's getting cut, but
I think the card is definitely a solid standalone. Sorry.
Yeah. So yeah, when I think about it,
I think it's a solid standalone weapon, but I don't think it'll see competitive play after the
4 weapons right now. This is the worst one by far, so it will not see play. Yeah. That's how I think.
Yeah. But I think it's still a very solid standalone card.
Exactly. So let's go ahead and move on. Judgment of Justice. It's a secret.
Bad secret pass.
In my mind, I was like, dude, there's no way they're printing any more Paladin secrets, but I got you baited hard. Secret, when an enemy minion attacks, set its attack and health to 1. Now, Repentance in the past was a decent card. Kind of meh sometimes, but sometimes also really good. Nuzleaf, what's up, man? I think they just purposely gave Paladin cards they won't use except that secret. Yeah, that's kind of what it looks like. But in my mind, I don't think this secret's really that good either.
I agree with you completely. I think you run Oh My Yogg, you run Galloping Savior, sometimes you run Reckoning. You don't run this.
Exactly. Like, in what sense would you want to play this over Reckoning? Because if you really want to set something to 1 attack and 1 health, it probably has over 3 attack anyways. And at that point, wouldn't it just be better to kill it? I guess it could save you some damage face, but...
Unless they come out with some, like, very low health, very high attack minion, this will see no play in my opinion. Even when you're running Reckoning, you're only running 1 Reckoning. This isn't going to see play.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't think, especially with Sword being nerfed now that you only pull 2 secrets, like, if it's still pulled 3, there's like a maybe you slot in 1 copy of this so you can get extra cards, right? Like, sometimes you can have 4 secrets up. There's potential for that. But at the end of the day, with it only pulling 2 secrets from your deck, you don't want to be pulling this card over 90% of the ones. It's better when an opponent minion attack yours, saves the damage. When a minion... Okay, so yeah, it is when it attacks anything. Okay, I didn't take that into consideration. So if they do take a minion and try to run it into yours, this card actually seems a lot better in that aspect. A lot better.
I still don't think it's, like, playable, but yeah, that is an advantage it has over Reckoning, as it's that it's when it attacks, not after it attacks.
I do like in the fact that it lets you hold board pressure, because with Paladin, you know, their downfall is once you lose the board, and it's a lot harder to lose the board with this card in your deck, but... God, at the end of the day, like, someone's already been playing Reckoning. I
still don't think it's playable. No, I cut Reckoning from my N'Zoth Pally. I run 2 Galloping. I run 2 Yogg. That's it.
I don't play Paladin, so I mean, I'm not the big say on Paladin. You have a lot more experience with Paladin than me.
I'm not a pro Paladin gamer, but I'm good enough to see that this doesn't see play.
Okay. Well,
Party Up, however. may see play
So
in
7 mana
some
10/10.
weird dude paladin list.
7 mana 10/10. Random effects. We know all the random effects.
But it gets two, I think. It gets two random effects, I think. Not sure, but it says effects, so I think it's two. I think it might get like Lifesteal and Wind Fury, or Rush and Divine Shield.
I don't think it does. I think that it says effects with an S because you're summoning 5.
I'm
So
not I'm I'm not sure. But even without that, what this card reminds me a lot of is it reminds me of the Forest Shade, which
yeah.
was an 8 mana, twin spell, summon 5/2/2s.
But the twin
And
spell was
that
really big on that card.
the twin spell
That
was, yeah, that made it insane value, but this does cost one less and is, on the turn it's played at least, a lot more powerful and a lot more impactful to the board.
that's true.
So I think if you are doing some kind of wide thing, some kind of aggro thing, or some kind of dude thing with Paladin, you may want to at least consider this card. I don't know if you put it in. Actually, speaking of
I don't think it's
aggro
good.
Paladin, I may at least experiment with Seed Cloud Buckler in like an aggro Murloc list or some form of very aggressive Paladin list. I
Yeah,
think
there's
it may
potential
be
for that
playable in
there.
one of those.
Now, if you do go party up and then you can follow it with your buckler, that is going to be super strong. But
Yeah.
I mean, given that you don't get the Divine Shield random bonus effect, because if you do, then I guess it's kind of a waste. All in all, I don't think Party Up's that good. I think out of these 3 cards, I think Judgment of Justice is the best one. Nuzleaf did
No, I
indeed
think
convince me on
I'm
that.
completely inverted on you. I think
Okay.
Judgment of Justice is the worst one. I think it has
Okay.
really no potential to see play. I think Seed Cloud Buckler could definitely see play in some decks. They won't be the best Paladin decks, but there'll be some decks, and I think Party Up could definitely see play. I don't think Judgment of Justice will see play because almost every
So
secret is better than it.
now what I'm going to be hitting Legend with is double Judgment of Justice with the
You're
3
gonna put
mana 3
14 of
4.
it in your deck.
Yeah, with
You're
the
gonna
3 mana
run.
3/4 that when I play a spell, it copies it and Death Rattle shuffle it
You,
into my deck just to get
You're
more
gonna be
Judgment of
playing
Justice.
first day at school, so you
Okay?
can get Mystery Winner, so you can get
Yep,
more Judgments of
exactly.
Justice, just to piss me off, and I'm gonna donate
Think about it.
400 subs.
Dude, if I'm over here and I have a Judgment of Justice every turn, my opponent's not taking the fucking board
You're
back.
right.
I'll
You
tell you
are
that.
right. If you get Judgment of Justice every turn and just play it for the rest of eternity, it is good. I will cede that point to you. But
Okay.
other than that, I don't think it'll see play. Now
Okay,
let's move on
Priest.
to Priest.
Yeah, Priest. So we're gonna talk about the card that was already revealed earlier. 3 mana 2/3. Battle Cry. Draw a spell. If it's a holy spell, reduces cost by 2. I think this is cool because it is one of the 2 archetypes in the game that really needed draw. I don't look at this card as draw a holy spell because you don't run too many of those. I think it's a 3 mana 2/3
Yeah,
draw a spell.
the biggest spell in Priest right now is Raise Dead, and that's Shadow. So yeah, it's never
Exactly.
guaranteed because you're never not running Raise Dead to run this card.
Exactly. But I do think 3 mana 2/3 draw a spell is, I don't know if it's necessarily like really good, but I think it's good enough because now it gives Priest draw and gets them deeper into the deck, gets them more refined decks, so we don't have to be running discover this card, discover this card, discover that card.
The reason I don't think this will see play is because the only deck that you would really want it in would be that sort of Miracle Rally Priest. And in Miracle Rally Priest, you want to bring back your Bloodweavers. You don't want to be bringing back a 2/3 that does nothing.
So in my mind, because I hit Legend, I had like 70 games with Flesh Giant Priest, right?
Yeah, I saw
And
you play the shit out of
yeah,
that. Yeah,
and my
it was
list
great.
was very mid-rangey. Okay,
hmm
I think this card fits in that deck. Mainly because it lets me cut a bad card. It lets me find the cards that I want, which is Devouring Plague and get minions back that died. It lets me draw my deck so I can get to my Flesh Giants quicker, and all in all, like just have a more proactive game plan instead of, hey, turn 3, I'm just gonna heal my face, pass to you, or
Yeah.
maybe have a Scorpion. So
I definitely do agree with you that this may be teched in if there is a very aggressive meta. But
It's also a 3 mana 2/3 that if you draw is Apoth a holy spell?
Apoth, I believe I'll give you 80-20 odds on it's holy. I'll
Yeah, I'm
check though.
pretty sure.
Yeah, it's holy, it's holy, it's holy.
So like, one, if you draw Apoth, it's nuts. Okay.
Yeah.
Two, it is just a minion that aggro decks have to clear, especially Aggro Hunter, because if they don't, slapping an Apoth on this is enough to win you the game.
But Aggro Hunter has to clear everything out of fear of Apoth. But yeah, you're right.
Exactly, but now you just have another minion that they have to clear. So, I don't know. I don't think it's like super
I think
amazing.
the card is.
Just potential, you know.
I think the card is okay. If it's in a deck, it's probably going to be the 29th or 30th card.
Yeah, I feel it. Let's move on.
But what I think is very, very good is against all odds.
I think
I like the flavor on this card. I like the text on this card. This card is a good card. They brought back the capitalization. That's insane, dude. That's plus 10 points. The thing you got to think about with this, Wave of Apathy against all odds. It's easy. You clear the whole board every time. Nutty.
I think this card is good. I've already been looking in the Facebook groups and a lot of other places. People are giving a lot of hate for this card. And they're saying, oh, it's just another AoE that's kind of meh and all kind of stuff like that. I think it's really good. So in my mind, one, you do have the Wave of Apathy combo. That is kind of a meh thing to do. If you don't find a Wave of Apathy randomly, you have to hope to draw the Wave of Apathy in your deck. You don't have Drawlin Priest. You're losing a lot of value to do this really big board clear, but really big board clears are good regardless. But outside of all of that, I feel like the two most attack stats you see in Hearthstone is 3 and 5. I feel like you see 3 and 5 like on 60% of minions in Hearthstone, period.
I mean, yeah, I feel like this card is good without the wave still a lot of the time. It's not good. It's not good against Libram. It's not good against Libram sometimes because of the big 8/8. But
yeah, but no, almost every time they summon the 8/8, they put a book on it, make it a 9/9. Almost every time. Like,
but
I think
overall, I posted a tweet in the chat that is of a list Meaty posted, a theory crafting, and I think that that card.
I like it.
It's gonna fit in the list in the perfect 30.
I also think it's good for the random pool. Sometimes randomly discovering this is going to be so
it's
good.
more
like
removal you can randomly discover.
I don't know if it necessarily makes the pool worse because now you have less chance of getting Soul Mirror, which I think Soul Mirror is still better than this card. But all in all, I think it's a good card. Has a lot of potential. I think it'll be played. Let's move on to another card that I think
it's heavily playable.
I think it's like almost every list, honestly. Battlecry, if you restored health.
Were you talking about against all odds or this 1/2 here?
I think the 1/2.
No.
I think.
Okay, you state your case on the 1/2, then I'll clap back.
1 mana, 1/2, Cleric of Anashi. Okay, Battlecry, if you restored health this turn, discover spells from your deck. Now, worst case, like absolute worst case, this is a 3 mana. Discover a card from your deck, and you develop a 1/2 body. Priest already runs a 3 mana discover a card or discover a spell outside of your deck. It does discount your whole hand. Okay, 1/2 is not probably. Oh, my bad. A 1/2 is probably not as good as discounting 5 cards. Okay, but I think the fact that it discovers a spell from your deck is the same reason why I think Devoted Dungeoneer is good, because it lets you get to your actual game plan faster, and it's letting you actually play the deck that you want to play. So again, in the deck that I was playing, Flesh Giant Priest, this card is great. Like, if I could guarantee this on 3, right, heal a little bit, play this, get my Devouring Plague out of my deck on 4 guaranteed, that's huge.
How I feel about this card, a card I think of that's sort of analogous to this is Thrive in the Shadows. Thrive in the Shadows, 2 mana, discover a spell in your deck. And I don't think That doesn't see play in Control Priest really
Yep.
at all. I don't like the cleric for a couple of reasons. I think it sort of muddies up your Raise Dead pool.
That's true.
On 3 sometimes, you're still full health, you won't be able to play it, it's kind of a dead card. But where I do think it'll see play, possibly, if not probably, is in Miracle Priest. I think it'll be a nice little addition to, first of all, discovering spells you want, because that's just something that Miracle Priest really loves to do. And as a little extra bonus, when you rally, you now also get a little 1/2 to go along with it. And that's not the most important part of your rally, but it's still quite good. So overall, I don't think it'll see play in Control, but I think it'll see play in Miracle.
You're talking about like the Exodia list where you play.
Yeah, the one where you play the Blood Weavers and the
Sessex
and you just pop off.
Yeah, I think
I think that's the list it goes in, but I don't think it goes in Control.
I think in that list it's also particularly good because it helps you find the 2 mana draw a minion from your deck.
Yeah.
So,
for the exact same reasons that Thrive in the Shadows is good. Yeah.
It'll help. I
think it's just that with a body attached that you can then get res from rally, and I think that's good enough to probably see play. I don't know quite what you cut for it. You might just straight up cut the Thrive in the Shadows for these, but I think it'll definitely see play in that. However, in Control, I'm not really sure. I don't think so.
Yeah.
Overall, Priest got at least a fair bit better this expansion.
I think so,
which makes me very unhappy, and we will see much more Priests to come.
Like, it's so good. I'm literally gonna run all 3 of these cards in one deck. I promise you. Watch. Okay.
Priest gamers, eat your heart out.
Rogue. 3 mana.
Okay.
2/5 beast. Water moccasin. Stealth has poisonous while you have no other minions. In Rogue,
this card just feels like such an arena card to me.
Dude, in Arena, this card seems crazy.
Yeah, it seems like, yeah.
Crazy, actually. Oh my god. Arena, this would be a great card to get.
But that's where I feel like it's only crazy.
Exactly. So the beast tag in Rogue, like, I mean, I guess if you're playing the Zoth Rogue, but...
It really means absolutely nothing in Rogue.
The beast tag is pretty much pointless. I guess random beast discovers. You might get this in a class that you're actually happy to have it. Stealth is kind of cool. I mean, it is a stealth minion if you're trying to play Stealth Rogue, but it's not an aggressive status stealth minion, which is not what Stealth Rogue wants.
Yeah, most of the time, you see like Spy Mistress, a 3/1, Jungle Panther, a 4/2. You don't normally see stealth minions that are weighted towards the side of health, which is quite strange.
The point is why you have no other minions. So it's cool that more often than not, you're going to have a guaranteed this will kill something eventually. Like, you could tempo this out even on a board where you have the board and your opponent does like a Condemn or something, clears your board, but maybe the Water Moccasin has a little too much health for them to deal with, so he might be able to punch in, re-get you that board control. But it's rare. I don't think it's going to see play, especially in any current list.
Any current iteration of Stealth Rogue. Stealth Rogue definitely does have a lot of support. It has Ash Tongue Slayer. It has Greyheart Sage. I just don't think those decks play this card. It's definitely not the card I'm most excited about in Rogue, and it probably won't see play. The card I am excited... Oh, you're getting raided. You're getting raided, boy. You're getting raided. Oh, you got sub, boy.
And he's just sub for the 2nd month in a row. Poem, you are a god amongst men, and I love you. KK47 Natural. How are you doing? I appreciate the follow, man. Now we're... What?
Man, we're going to get to the hundo this stream.
Yeah, the giveaway's happening. Holy crap. Let me go and update that, because now we are only 4 away. Oh my gosh. 4 away from the giveaway. I can update that right now for you guys. Oh, new setup? Yeah, I'm trying to look professional. Or at least professional enough. And I just wanted a green screen for a while. I just had to wait for my my wife to go out of town before I could convince her to let me buy one and move everything in the house to set it up.
Because she hates green screens, infamously.
Well, no, so originally, let's go. Lacerda,
Uh,
how are you doing, my friend? Appreciate the follow. So gosh, that's 97 out of 100.
We're
That is
very close to the giveaway.
absolutely nutty. Holy crap, we're so close. Dude, not in like my wildest dreams did I think like I would grow to 100. Like low key, like it feels definitely possible now because we're so close. But when I started, I was like, I might get 10 followers to hang out with. It's crazy just to think about.
I'm telling you, man. You're snowballing as a channel. Like, okay, look at how long did it take you to get to 50 subs, right?
Like a month.
And how long has it taken you to get from 50 to 100?
Like a month.
Yeah,
Hey.
so we're snowballing. We're slowly getting faster. And my card is not working. I was trying to surprise you with a sub. Twitch doesn't want to let me.
It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. So yeah, let's move on. Hey, I appreciate.
Yeah, we're doing a card review right now.
I appreciate the fucking follows and the raid means so much to me. So now we are on the 3 mana Shroud of Concealment.
Yeah. Shroud is definitely the most interesting card in
It's
Rogue
so interesting.
for me.
It's super
I
cool.
think it reminds me. What it really reminds me of is Conceal, because I think you play this, you drop your field contact. That's kind of insane.
Okay, so I don't think it's like Conceal good. So it
No,
is 3
definitely not.
mana.
I'm just saying it's a similar card.
So, Mage has always had 3 mana draw 2. We know 3 mana draw 2 is a good card in itself. You only
Yeah,
want 2
like
minions now,
like AI, obviously.
but 2 minions, especially for Rogue right now, seems better than 2 other cards, especially because we have so much spell draw anyways. And the fact that they gain stealth for 1 turn, I don't think...
That's very good. It reminds me of the 4 mana 0/3 Spirit of the Frog. Yeah.
That's true. 100%
Yeah.
true. But I don't think this goes in like the obvious archetype. I don't think this goes in stealth. Like in stealth.
No, stealth is one to hit you in the face
Yeah,
so fast.
exactly.
You don't
I
even
think
know
it's
what
too
happens.
slow for that, and it's
I
sad
think it
because
more
you're
goes
like,
in the sort of combo Alex Straza type
exactly.
of Rogue. Holy shit!
The other
Twitch,
question
I
about
hate
that is like, that deck is so refined because it's like the deck's really strong in the hands of really good players. In the hands of not good players, it's kind of trash. But
the deck is very refined, but I definitely think there are cards that you're willing to cut to put this in. Like maybe even 1 copy if you cut Vanessa Van Cleef, for example, and
That's
put
true.
a copy of
Yeah,
Shroud of
Vanessa.
Concealment in.
Yeah, Vanessa feels kind of weak. But you also have to
Or
think
maybe
about...
1 Og Merchant, 1 Vanessa, put 2 of them in there.
Exactly. But you also
I
have to
think
think
there are
about...
cuttable cards in that
It
deck.
says any played this turn. So you're not getting like the inherent... These always have stealth when I play them. Like if you are getting like field contact, you're not going to be able to drop that field contact with stealth until like turn 5. So
Yeah.
that's another thing
problem,
to think about.
and you have to play them on the same turn, which is a small problem. So normally you're dropping field contact turn 5, turn 6.
Exactly.
Or say if you get this discounted with the Octobot, yeah, you can drop it on 5 or sometimes even 4 kind of consistently.
Or even
I think the
Octobot...
card is solid. It may find a home in combo.
And Octobot following this card is also good because obviously you're adding more minions, so you get a bigger discount. But we'll move on. I think the card's pretty, honestly, cut and dry. I don't feel like it's that good. I don't feel like it's actually going to get played. It's going to get experimented with like every other card in the set, but I don't think it'll stay in the deck that it's experimented with. The next card, I mean, it's a meme.
It's
Save for
hand
Deviated
disruption.
It's
I
what are you trying to hand disrupt right now? Like, come on.
You're trying to hand disrupt Otk Demon Hunter, and you're trying to hand disrupt Ticketus, but I mean,
let's be real. You're probably not hitting Ticketus, except for
yeah,
like 5% of the time.
that's a big. This card is not. This card is the meme.
It's it. I mean, it's cool
yeah,
that it's a fucking
no.
fish in a frying pan, but that's about it. I mean, maybe Wild.
I
Wild is
think
kinda cool.
sometimes it's playable hand disruption. Most of the time, it's a card you don't play. I think the most interesting card Rogue got this time round was definitely Shroud of Concealment, and I do think that at
I think
least
I think this
may see
card
some form of competitive play.
I think this card would have been cool if it said transform this card and a minion in your opponent's hand to a
Yeah,
pirate or stealth
that
minion.
would have been more
Because then you're
interesting.
not
And
negging.
there's an
That like
element of value to it.
exactly. Now it's an inherent neg. You're ruining your
Yeah,
own deck to try to hit your opponent, and you're wasting a card and 1 mana on top of that. It's like
yeah.
it's just I don't think it's gonna see
like
play.
it doesn't
I'm
feel
gonna play
it doesn't
2
feel
copies
good.
of it, but I don't think anyone else is gonna play the deck or the
Yeah.
card. So let's move on. Shaman, the best archetype in the entire world.
Shaman got 3
Wand maker nerf.
good cards this expansion.
Imagine.
Let's talk about them.
Dude, if I played Priest and I played Wand Maker and I get fucking this Savory Delight card and I randomly play it and hit my opponent's Ticketus, I will shit my pants. I would be the happiest motherfucker in the entire world. Oh,
I would giggle and plug them a rage.
That'd be the greatest feel. Okay, so Shaman.
Okay, let's start off.
Like
Primal Dungeoneer. This was like the only card anyone was talking about for 6 days because everything else that came out was kind of eh. I think it's very solid. It needed some support in the form of another good elemental to really put Elemental Shaman over the top, and I think it definitely got that.
So
I think this card is very good.
2 mana, 2/3, battle cry, draw a spell. If it's a nature spell, also draw an elemental. You'll probably seen this card if you have been keeping up with Hearthstone at all. Now, dang, it's good. The only thing that I just wish, man, is that this card was an elemental itself. If this card was an elemental itself, it would be absolutely crazy. Like it like potential to push the entire archetype. But the fact that it's not elemental, that does kind of suck because you want to play this on 3, right? Most times. I guess you can play it on like turn 6 with one of the 1-drop, or turn 4 with one of the 1-drop elementals, so your chain doesn't die. But theoretically, you want to play it on 3 because the stat line's so mediocre. And what's really good is the spells in Shaman that you're probably already playing are all nature spells anyways, which is really good.
Except for Perpetual Flame, which is another good card that just got dropped. I think this card is nutty. I think this card is a very solid control card. Early game, mid game, late game. You might play this in mid range. You might play this in control. You may even play this in some aggro lists. The only problem is that it's not a nature spell. It's a fire spell. But honestly, I still feel like the card is still good regardless.
So when I look at this card, I think about Warlock and their 1 mana Unstable Fellbolt. Okay, so Unstable Fellbolt, it's a 1 mana card that deals 3 damage to an enemy minion. Downfall is it deals 3 damage to one of yours. So let's change the downfall to a random enemy minion. So with Unstable Fellbolt, I've ran it in the past, and I've seen people that ran it in list. You're just running it for early like damage. Right? So, like, you want this in your opening hand on turn 1 or turn 2, and most of the time, if this card said destroy a random one, I would not mind, because they usually only have 1 or 2 minions. And then, on top of that, if you're playing the Shaman card on 1 or 2 and they do have multiple minions, you're clearing their whole freaking board. It does not matter. It's crazy. Because I'm pretty sure it's deal 3 damage to an enemy minion, it dies. You play this again, that one dies, this is again. What does suck, which is kind of potentially bad, is the fact that you overload, and when you recast this, you are overloading each time.
Yeah, that's a bit of a problem, but that's also kind of fine.
Another thing to think about is the Elemental Shaman has, that recently got buffed, where Shaman. You do now have a buffed...
Shaman. What elemental are you talking
Unbound
about?
elemental.
Marshspawn? Unbound. Unbound. Yeah,
no.
Unbound got very slightly changed, so now it works with guidance.
It does.
Because did you see the very small change? It got changed from whenever you play a card with overload to whenever you get overloaded. Because the problem was with guidance. Guidance reads look at 2 spells. Add 1 to your hand, or overload for 1 if you choose both. So it doesn't technically count as an overload card, so it didn't work with Unbound Elemental. So it got very slightly buffed.
And the +1 attack stat value. So I was wrong. In my mind, Perpetual Flame would trigger it multiple times, which would be kind of crazy. But looking back
That would be very good with the Unbound Elemental. Yeah, no.
Yeah, but it says recast this, and since Unbound Elemental says whenever you play a card, I don't think
that's the thing I said that's the thing I said that's getting changed, because they changed that for guidance. So I think that will trigger, because now it just reads whenever you get overloaded. Gain +1/+1. 1 minute, let me get the specific thing up.
Yeah, pull it up. It literally says when you play a card with overload, gain +1/+1.
I know, but they're changing it. 1 second.
Oh, they are changing it.
20.4. Yeah. After you play a card, whenever you, it's been changed from whenever you play a card with overload, gain +1/+1 to after you play a card with over. What the fuck is this change? I don't understand. Okay, I'm gonna send you a screenshot of this change.
What? Okay, whatever it is.
And explain to me how these are anything different.
Okay, so from what I've concluded on what you said and what I've said is I'm right, and it will not trigger multiple times.
I think you're right, but I also don't understand this change at all. I posted it in the Discord. Tell me if you can figure this out.
At the end of the day, I still think it's crazy. On average, even if it's turn 3, right, and your opponent plays minions, a lot of those minions will have 3 or less health. If you cast this on 3 and you're killing, like, say Face Hunter goes really wide, okay, I don't think you would mind losing your next turn over killing or
you're
Face
killing
Hunters
Colex, you're killing the little 1/1 beasts. I mean, it's
I think it has potential. I don't think it's actually gonna get slot in Elemental because it is a Shaman. I think you should play your nature spells for the Dungeoneer, but
it might get played in some mid-range Elemental lists. Definitely in Control, maybe in some mid-range.
So next one, we got 1 mana 1/3 Wailing.
I love this
Vapor. Cool. It looks sick. I like it. I like his 3 eyes and everything it's got going on.
Yeah, he looks kind of like a storm.
He's blowing off
sort of similar to Mensing Nimbus.
Exactly. So after you play an Elemental, gain +1 attack. 1 mana 1/3.
I think this is very good.
Elemental change is a nerf. Is it?
I think it's. No, I'm talking about the 1/3, the Wailing Vapor.
Yeah.
I added you in the server with the very small change.
Okay.
How is it a nerf?
No, that's what KK47 is saying in chat, is that it's a nerf.
The KK47.
Because board clears will affect it before it gets buffed, I think. Yeah, because it is now after, so...
Yeah,
if
okay.
we do like a board clear or something, it will instantly gain a +1.
Besides it now works with guidance though, so I think it's more of a change than a buff.
Okay. Yeah, because if it's win, I don't know. That's my brain's not big enough for that.
We'll test it. Yeah, we'll test it, okay?
So
why are you gonna be so vague, Blizzard?
So
I
1
think
mana
this is
1/3
exactly
stat line,
what...
tried and true, broken stat line for a 1-drop. If it has a good effect, this effect is absolutely crazy.
This is exactly what Elemental Shaman needed, in my opinion. I don't think it makes the deck good, but I definitely think it pushes the deck a lot more in the right direction.
It's definitely bringing my...
You've got so many... The core of Elemental Shaman is really the early game. You've got that 1 mana 1/2 Kindling Elemental. These two together are insane. I mean, you play Wailing, Coin, Kindling.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, technically there's a turn 1 where you go Wailing, Coin, Kindling Elemental into Kindling Elemental into a second Wailing, and then you just win the game.
Okay, that's
crazy. That's the pop off turn. Sort of like when you get the 2 mana 3/2 Prime. And this is just very solid in general. I mean, even playing it in the mid game, it's very solid.
The only way
Elemental needs a little more support in general, but overall, this is a very solid card in my opinion.
The text I would have liked to see on this card was a 1 mana 1/3. After you play an Elemental, draw a card. That's what I wanted to see, but we're just not lucky enough.
That would have been insane. Yeah.
It's just not lucky enough. Okay, let's move on to Warlock.
I mean,
I think Warlock.
it's so good. You play this on one, you play Cage Match Custodian on two. You play this on one,
I
you play
know.
Nimbus on two.
There's
You play
so
this on
much.
one, you coin Arid Stormer on two. I mean, yeah, this
Yeah,
is
this is
nutty.
crazy.
Moving
There's a
on
lot
to
of
Warlock
tokens.
though. Yeah,
So
overall looking at Shaman got 3 very good cards this expansion,
yes.
and I think it'll further the class.
it
Moving
definitely
on to
needed
Warlock.
it. Unstable Shadow Blast. 2 mana. Deal 6 damage to a minion. Excess damage hits your hero. First of all, the card art is sick. You got the raptor over there that's just getting absolutely obliterated, but it kind of looks like he's shooting out a blast, which is kind of sick, even though he's not. So 2
I
mana
think this
deal
is good.
6. Like
It reminds me a lot. It reminds me a lot of Spirit Bomb.
yes.
That 2 mana. What was it? Deal 4 to minion. Deal 4 to yourself.
Yeah.
And that card was good. This card should
Exactly.
be good.
Except a lot of times you're not taking 4. Like when you play this card,
Yeah.
usually you're gonna hit
It's
something.
a lot better. You can also now deal 2 more damage with it and not take damage.
Exactly, because
I definitely feel it's better.
Warlock already has 2 cards that are 2 mana deal 3. So more often than not, you're not gonna need to deal with something that has less than 3 health. You're gonna be hitting something with 4 to 6 health. So you're probably only taking 2 damage at most, and dealing with a problematic card with 4 to 6 health for 2 mana is absolutely nuts. Like, it's
I
that
mean, yeah,
simple.
this card is just straight up good. This card is a good card. It's good removal. You like it in arena. You like it in
It's-
standard. You like it in wild. It's gonna be good everywhere.
It's
People are gonna love it.
also a shadow card, so with the legendary, you will get another copy of this after you cast it for 0 mana.
Oh, I didn't
Which
even
is
consider the
nutty.
Tamsin
Which
Rome.
is nutty.
Yeah.
Like,
That-
dude, everything like every shadow card that they make, Tamsin, like you have to think about it with Tamsin, and this card
Yeah, you're
following Tamsin is sick. Okay, so we'll move on. It's a
feels
pretty
good.
simple card.
The-
It's pretty.
The
good.
other 2 cards Warlock got though, kind of sus. Final Gasp, deal 1 damage to a minion. If it dies, summon a 2/2 advantage. I mean, the thing about this is, it reminds me a lot of Blood to Ichor, except it works the opposite way around. I don't think you play this at all. I don't think you really want to be developing tempo in general in Warlock, and it's sort of poor removal that leans on tempo.
Exactly.
I don't think it's
In
good.
what world would you ever even run this card over Mortal Coil?
Yeah, that's the thing. You'd rather be drawing a card in Warlock than summoning a 2/2.
Yeah,
But,
I don't think the card's good.
I don't think
Mortal
it's
Coil
card
still
good.
rarely played right now. This will be played even less. I guess if you're trying some type of tokenish Warlock, maybe some type of face Warlock, weird, swarm the board. There's potential for this, but in that deck, I feel like you'd still just run a better card. I mean, even Mortal Coil in an aggro deck is probably better than this card because you'd rather actually draw a card in your deck. Yeah, I don't think it's good. I don't think it's good at all. I don't think it'll see play.
I don't think it'll see play. I think Mortal Coil is just straight up better.
Yeah.
And the last card Warlock got isn't real. So overall,
Is it real?
Warlock, it got Shadow Blast this expansion and nothing else. I mean, Stealer Soul. I mean, I don't fucking understand the health to mana. I don't.
It's
memes.
Dude, I mean, come on. What is it?
Yeah.
Warlock has some really strong cards, and I know that they have to be careful.
You couldn't have made Warlock a serious contender. This meta, you know, made it up there with Priest and stuff.
Okay, well, Nuzleaf just pointed out, you steal those souls, right? Turn 4.
Yeah.
It sticks, or you draw the card. Boom. Play Jiraxxus.
But Jiraxxus, that you're thinking of old school Jiraxxus. It doesn't work like that anymore. You'd be drawing like Death Knight Jiraxxus, so it wouldn't work.
No,
but that would be nutty.
Because if you're playing this on 4, and even if you're spending 9 health to get a Jiraxxus, that's the card that actually makes Warlock win the game. If you could get Jiraxxus down on turn 5 by taking 9 health, you fucking do it. Like,
yeah.
The only thing is that's not guaranteed at in the slightest.
The card is good if you play it and like just big, heavy cards. But overall, I don't think it'll see any play except
Okay.
in
Now,
decks.
if you've played Deck of Chaos already, and you play
We're
this
going to the
card,
deck of we go to the deck of chaos territory. Are we
then
going
it's
to?
only a 2-mana card, and everything in your deck is very cheap because you built Deck of Chaos with low attack, a fucking high mana cost. So then you're paying only like 2 health to summon like an 8/10 or some shit. So Deck of Chaos, confirmed OP, best deck in the game.
You're right. It is insane with deck of chaos. Deck of Chaos makes this card incredible.
What
I
else can
give
I
it
say?
a 10 out of 10, a 5 out of 5. We can move on to Warrior,
I think
which
Warrior
is what I
has
really like to do.
the coolest.
And let me have a drink of water because we're going to be talking about Warrior for 20 minutes.
I think Warrior has some super cool stuff. Super cool. We'll talk about.
You want
the
to
first
start
one
off
here.
with Mana Arms?
Yeah, let's go ahead and do it. So 2 mana, 2/3, Man of Arms, Battle Cry. If you have a weapon equipped, gain +1/+1. In my opinion, out of the 3 cards, this one is not the coolest. But now to the right of it, we do have a 1-mana weapon. We'll talk about it in a second. So you could play this theoretically, follow it up with Mana Arms. Mana Arms becomes a 2-mana 3/4, which is an amazing stat line for a 2-drop. Yeah, I'm not a fan of this one. I'm not a fan of this
it becomes a Totem Golem if you have the next card, Whetstone Hatchet, on 1. And Totem
Yeah.
Golem was nutty when it was around. Nowadays, it's still pretty solid, but it's not as broken as it used to be. But I think this card, I don't know, what other early weapons are you getting out with?
Nothing. I think that's the only one.
You can say you're playing this on 3, you're playing this on 4. It's not really that good.
Exactly.
I mean, you're playing this after you get the weapon off the legendary. It's not really that good. So I don't think it sees play. I think
Yeah, I don't
Warlock
think it
has,
does either.
sorry, Warrior has much better early tempo options.
Now
And,
the next card.
yeah.
I'm so 50-50 on this. So 1 mana.
I
1/4
really
weapon.
don't know.
After your hero attacks, give a minion in your hand +1 attack. Now, my gosh. So I think we do have, if I'm not mistaken, there is a cheap weapon that gives every minion in your hand with a different type a buff.
You're thinking of Ringley's Baton or some shit.
Ringmaster's
2 mana
Baton.
3, 2 mana 1/3. Whenever you attack, give a. It's not all of the menagerie types. It's a pirate, mech, or warrior, or
Dragon.
or beast, or something. Yeah,
Yeah,
dragon.
it's a mech dragon, a
or some
pirate,
shit.
and you buff.
And it's
those
only
3.
one of them. So if you have all 3 in your hand, you're still only
it's
getting
all
1
of
plus
them.
1+1.
After your hero attacks, give a mech dragon and pirate in your hand +1/+1. It says and. So it
Is
does.
it all of them?
Yeah. So it attacks, and then it's basically, not always, but usually, especially that early in the game, if you have those cards in your deck, you probably still have them in your hand. A +3/+3.
Yeah.
This
You're
card was
usually
bad.
only getting 1 or 2 though.
Yeah.
With
This card
that
was bad,
card.
and it's +1/+1 in that aspect. Comparing it, I think that the hatchet is also going to be bad.
I don't think. Yeah, you're right. I don't think Hatchet. Well, the thing is, Hatchet doesn't have to conform to the standards of having
Yeah.
to play 10th Thrasher
Exactly.
and having to play like a Noyotrons and other weird shit. So I think it is definitely more flexible and could see some play in the future. And perhaps now that I realize that this legendary is a beast, maybe some form of menagerie could work when you have Whetstone Hatchet and you have the Baton. It gives your Man of Arms some consistency early game, which
I
may
don't
be
know.
okay.
I
But
just
really,
don't think, I don't think the
eh.
first 2 cards of Warrior is exciting, but
I
this
don't think
legendary.
the Hatchet is good. I don't think the
I
Hatchet is
think
good.
the
This
legendary is
legendary is
nuts.
nutty. It's insane. It makes Sarafang playable. You play it in control. You play it in mid range. You play it in rush. You play it in everything. It's good.
I think this card will push the Silas OTK into at least a deck that's good enough to compete with a lot of other decks. Because Warrior has a lot of good control tools, and now that you
Yeah.
have 6 mana 3/9 Beast, Frenzy, gain 8 armor, Death Rattle, equip a 2/5, Turtle Spike. So it's like a small weapon. The weapon doesn't really matter. It's it's the big stat line that more often than not, the Fringe is going to proc. You're going to gain 8 armor. You get to Sour Fang it back, gain 8 more armor. And if you want to run some type of N'Zoth build, you'll be getting 8 more armor on top of that. So,
yeah,
I think it's pretty nice. I mean,
it's very good. Yeah, I think this makes Sarafang, along with this, probably a mainstay.
exactly.
In
Yeah,
the
because the
core
amount of
control
stats
work.
you're getting
Because
off Sarfang,
sometimes you were playing it on occasion before, but now with this guy, you're probably playing it in most lists.
yeah,
I would say.
I like it a lot. I mean, I think it's cool. I mean,
Yeah,
do we
I
know
think
what the turtle spike is yet? Is it just like a blank 2/5 weapon?
I think it's just a 2/5 weapon. Yeah, and I think that's definitely good enough.
Yeah, probably. If it
I
did any effect, it'd probably be too good.
yeah.
Dude, what if
This
what if
card
it
is
was
very
Death
good.
Rattle, Reborn, Crash Lord of the Turtling? Boom.
I don't. You ask me questions sometimes, and I don't know how to answer them.
That's because I only ask you broken responses.
Good.
Okay, so
Mm.
we'll go
Floating
back.
mana HS. Oh, why don't we make a 1 mana 10/10? Because that would be broken. That would be nutty. Stop asking me questions like
I
this.
would
I
run
don't.
a 1 mana
The reason
10/10
you
with
don't.
Shaman.
Of course. Oh, would you? Wow, really
Uh,
based take. Cool take. Let's move on to the neutral legendaries. Mutinous. I think
Devour.
neutral. I think. Okay, first off, look at this boy. Look at this dude. Look at his face.
Looks
Look at
like
him.
he's
He's
lifting
hungry.
weights over there with like,
He
or
looks like he
shaking
is
a
hungry to eat
maraca.
a minion in your hand.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he does look like he's about to eat a minion
I
in my
think
hand.
I think it's very good and fun to give neutral hand disruption tools out. I think that's pretty nice. I think this makes a lot of matchups that were before 80-20 pretty much unwinnable, like Priest versus Warlock, for example.
Mm-hmm.
It gives them a real chance to win. I don't
Ah,
think.
dude, but like I'm not playing this card in Priest. I don't give a like if I play Control Priest, I don't give a like a damn. I'm not
I
putting
don't
that card in
know
my
if
deck.
you even play it. I don't know if you even play it, but I just think it's nice for Priest to have the option if they
So
are queuing into a lot of DH to at least have some way to fight back.
I
So
mean,
I
Demon
think the
Hunter, I don't
card
think
is
you have a
good.
problem with because you have a Lucia. I think it's just Warlock if you're trying to play Priest. Besides that, every other class, I don't think like the only deck that would really want to run it is Priest. But like, are you queuing into Warlock that much? Like,
Yeah,
I think I'm
if
queuing like 20% Warlock right now, if that. Especially when I hit Legend, there's no Warlock because people that play Warlock usually don't hit Legend. Like,
yeah,
I
I
mean,
I think this card hand disruption always finds a place in most card games, and I think this will probably be okay. It'll see a lot of experimentation, but I see it as more of a tech card than a mainstay in any
so
particular deck.
another thing to think about, right, is it gives classes a Murloc to play if they do want to run
Yeah.
an Azoth deck.
For further
Uh,
than exhaust yet, yeah.
besides that, let's say I would say almost every deck right now is some type of mid range. So let's say on average you're eating like a 4/4, right? 7 mana
Yeah.
8/8, deny your opponent a card. That's pretty good.
Yeah,
Like,
discard a card from your opponent. That's solid, yeah.
I mean, we'll move on. I like it's a card that needs
I
rigorous testing, and
I think I think it's a tech card similar to like an ooze or something of that nature. And I think it's pretty good and will probably see at least some degree of play in between the next expansion and now.
yeah, exactly. Okay,
Let's
so
move
let's
on.
move on. Yeah, so 3 mana
Arch
Archdruid and
Druid,
Narrowlax. 3 mana
dormant for
3.
2 turns,
Yep, 3 mana 3/3.
while
Dormant for 2
dormant,
turns. While
add a
dormant.
dream card
Okay, you can
to
read
your
it.
hand.
You could read it.
Okay,
We're
no,
going
you
back and
read it.
forth there.
No, you go first.
Okay, 3 mana 3/3.
While
Archdruid,
dormant.
Narrowlax. Dormant for 2 turns. While dormant, add a dream card to your hand at the end of your turn. So, very similar to old school Ysera, except it comes down a lot earlier.
Yeah.
It can't be dealt with for 2 turns. So, control decks, yay. Mid range or aggro decks, definitely a nay. Um, but at the same time, the dream cards that you are adding to your hand, they are random. So in control, there's potential for you to get some really good pieces and then some really bad pieces because you really don't want the 0 mana buff your board in a control matchup. Sorry.
Yeah.
Obviously, if you could guarantee getting the AoE, getting even just Dream, super strong, and then, but at the end of the day, I feel like it's just such a slow card. Like,
I think this card is very strong.
You think it's very strong?
I feel like the way I look at it is, you know, just sort of reading it as at the end of your turn, add a low cost card, like draw a low cost good card. I think that's quite solid. The body coming attached is just quite a bonus. I do think it performs poorly against aggro and such, but I think it can definitely see play in control lists and some mid-range lists.
I think you're missing the line of text that says this card does not shit for 2 turns on the board.
Yeah, you're right. That's why I say it performs poorly against aggro, but I think it definitely can see play.
So in my mind, I like to imagine I'm playing a deck and I'm playing against Paladin because that's all I'm playing 80% of the time. And even if I'm playing a control deck, I don't want this card in my hand versus Paladin. I want something.
Sometimes you're getting Dream off it. Sometimes you're getting your Sarah Awakens off it.
It's like
those are 2 out of 5 of the cards. You're getting 2 cards. Those are pretty good odds. Sometimes you're getting Nightmare off it, and that's potentially a buff you can stick to something to in turn remove something. I
think it's cool.
I think the card is pretty okay.
I think where this card fits the most, personally, is I think Warlock's gonna like this card. Yeah. Because they're already a slow deck, and they have a lot of early removal. Just being able to, get more cards for them, I think is going to be pretty nice, and I think they're going to enjoy it. Priest potential. Every other class right now, I don't think they want
it. Goes in Warlock and Priest sometimes, mainly if you're seeing a lot of other control. Yeah. You may want to put this in. I mean, what is cuttable for this if we look at the list? I mean, sometimes you cut like a Scoundrel for this if you want more value, but it's really kind of hit and miss. I think it's a good mid to late game piece of control.
In Warlock, I've already seen people cutting Ogres.
Yeah, Ogre's definitely a cuttable card for this card. I think this card is better than an Ogre, and you'd probably want it more often.
That's what I would say. Cutting an Ogre for this card. It's very rare that this card even, you're mad about drawing this card because if you don't have Scorpid, you're not playing a 3-drop. Usually the 3-mana 3/4, you want to corrupt that anyways before you play it. The one that shuffle 2 Soul Fragments, corrupt, draw a card. So usually playing that on turn 5. So I think it's just another tool for Warlock more than anything. It's definitely a cool card though. It fits Naralax's theme. I don't know how much you know about WoW and stuff, but
very little, but I'll take your word on. I heard he's a man who likes to sleep.
He is indeed a man who likes to sleep. So we'll move on to the next one.
We'll move on.
Read this one. Yeah. I give you the honors, sir.
I don't know how to read, streamer. Why do you ask these things of me?
Go for it.
Summon this from your Razor Boar. Have a good time. Devouring Ectoplasm. 3 mana 3/2. Death Rattle. Summon a 2/2 Adventurer with a random bonus effect. You can, of course, if you weren't here at the start, recall back to the random bonus effects: Taunt, Divine Shield, Spell Damage, Lifesteal, Wind Fury, Poisonous, Stealth, and Rush. I think this card is pretty good to get off your Razor Boar. You're probably, as we talked about earlier, you're probably cutting Death's Head Cultist for this, and you're running this alongside the 3/2 Beast just for more consistency with your Razor Boar. I think it's pretty good. I think it'll see play in DH and fuck all else.
So another thing to think about is if you are cutting the Quill Boar, you do not any longer have a Quill Boar to be reborn off into Zoth, but that is a risk I'm willing to take to add an Ectoplasm in my deck because
it's not that good when you get it. Yeah, it's not that good when you get it off into Zoth even. Yeah.
At the end of the day, you're gonna have your 2 mana 3/2, which you usually hard mull for anyways, and following this up with it becomes Death Rattle, summon another 3/2 into Death Rattle, summon a 2/2.
Because before the problem was that you were playing what you were pulling from Razorboar every time with a 3-mana 2/4 taunt that gains you back health, and that's not what Demon Hunter wants to be doing on the board. It wants to be doing active stuff. It wants to be on the board, hitting the opponent in the face, not sitting back and healing.
Exactly.
Even in the Death Rattle and the Saw sort of slower list, it's still an aggressive deck. That's why I think this will fit the slot much better than Death's Head Cultist.
Yeah, so I don't think there's too much more to be said about this card, except Death Rattle Demon Hunter's going to have a fine time. Besides that, what's the 4-mana card? Death Rattle, or no, 3-mana Death Rattle summon a 2-drop? Or was it the other way around? Was it 4-mana Death Rattle summon? Piloted Shredder. I don't remember.
Oh, yeah, it reminds me of Piloted Shredder a lot. You're right.
Yeah, so Piloted Shredder was a great
card. Like a better Shredder. Yeah, it's all tons of play.
Exactly. So yeah. I think this card's good overall. Maybe even just as a tempo card. 3-mana, 3/2.
Yeah, sometimes you even play it in decks where you want something sticky. Like maybe again some aggro paladin lists run this card, just because you want something to stick on board, so you can do some conviction, so you can hand of it all, etc., etc., etc. Next card.
So 7-mana Selfless Sidekick. One of the cards that I like the most. I don't know necessarily how good it is, but I really like this card. It's a 6-mana or 7-mana 6/6 battlecry. Equip a random weapon from your deck, dude. Like this card, man. One, she's looking like a thug over here, just point blank. She's got one fist up, ready to just deck you in your freaking schnoz. She's got her mace over here, and she's just gonna throw it at your dome. She's ready for you. Besides that, I mean, equip a random weapon for your deck.
I like to read it as draw and play a weapon, and I think that's a very solid thing that you like to be doing.
Exactly.
But that said, I don't think the card is that good. I mean, what are you pulling with it? You don't play this in Weapon Rogue.
So in my mind, in my mind, I know it's probably not the best, but Doomhammer, okay?
Yeah. I mean, the thing. I mean, I've clocked about 150 games with aggro Shaman this sort of last expansion, and you don't want this in there really. You don't play a card that costs more than 5.
Look, I am the Shaman player, and I will try this card in the deck. Sure, it probably won't
Famous
work out,
Shaman gamer.
But after you get a Doomhammer, you don't get overloaded. So in my mind, I think you played a 5-mana weapon, so 2-mana 6/6, and you drew the Doomhammer out of your deck already. Like, woo. No, I don't know how good that actually is.
It might be okay sometimes. I mean, maybe if a big nutty weapon comes out, it'll be good for that class. Either way, I think this card is okay. It's really more about what's around the card, though.
Yeah, exactly.
Right now, there's not a lot of good around the card. So
moving on, I think the worst card in the entire thing revealed so far, the Meeting Stone.
What the fuck? Did you say those words? Are you serious? You think this card is the worst card?
I think it's the worst card. Like,
you think this card is worse than Weltstone Hatchet?
Yes.
You think this card is worse than Final Gasp?
Yes.
What are you saying? What do you think this card is worse than Savory Deviate Delight, the fucking fish card? Do you think this card is better than fish card, streamer?
Look, I feel like
you want a stealth or pirate minion, streamer?
Every other card can be experimented with, okay? This card, without experimenting with it, is just fucking ass. Like,
no, it's not. You stick this a lot of times. It reminds me a lot of Evil Totem. You remember Evil Totem? Adds you the lackeys. I think it's kind of like that. You might play that.
You're not adding a lackey. You're adding an adventurer that is a 2-drop, not a 1-drop.
Yeah, like a solid 2-drop.
Are definitely worse than every lackey. Like, I don't think, even if you high roll this card, okay, you get the 2-mana one with Divine Shield. You think this is worse than the fish card? Hey, KK, look, I think the fish card has a cooler art. So
fish card, streamer?
Okay, look, if you high roll it out of Oblivion and you get the 2-mana 2/2 Devoted Adventurer, the one with Divine Shield, right? Potentially really good. You can't guarantee that. My luck, I would get the +1 spell damage and it not matter every time. This card...
+1 spell damage is nutty for your Unstable Shadow Blast. It does more damage.
Okay, look. this card, man. Like, what are you doing? Like,
I think you play this card. Okay, you won't care about this. I think you play this card if like a sort of Warlock Zoo list ever comes up. I think it definitely goes in that, and I think in like very aggressive forms of like Murloc Paladin and Aggro Paladin, you may play this because it sticks and your opponent needs to deal with it. You can slap a hand on it. It's very sticky. I don't think it's the best card in the set, but I definitely don't think it's as bad as Fish card. I think it's maybe playable sometime in the future.
Look, I don't know. I'm not a fan. Like, okay, so in my mind, right, it's a 0-2. If you're going second and you're tempoing this out on 1, it's dead 90% of the time, okay? If you go first, you play this, sure, it might be alive, okay, but it's probably going to die the next turn. If you don't high roll the rush guy to kill whatever 1-drop they played, then you're playing a
then you can hand it sometimes. You can hand it a lot of the times.
So let's say 3 mana, right? Because you're playing 2 mana for your 2/2. You're playing 1 mana for this card. You're playing a 3 mana 2/4. That's ass.
But sometimes you can hit it. You can hit it with that Hand of Vidal on turn 2, and that can clear up the 1-drop they've put down. Even though Hand of Vidal is getting nerfed, I still think it's very playable.
But like, think about the 1-drops right now. Like,
yeah,
the 1-drop that most people are playing, I would say, or the best 1-drop in the game anyways, is the 1 mana 1/2 spell burst. It goes to 3 attack.
Yeah, yeah.
They tempo that on 1. You tempo this on 1.
The only deck that really plays that is Face Hunter.
That's true, but I don't know.
I agree with you that I think it's one of the best 1-drop. It is very easy to kill, but so was Evil Totem, and that was still played. I think it's a small thing that you can easily sort of spiral with. I mean, if you get this stick in 2 turns, 3 turns,
I could see it. You definitely convinced me that it has a little more potential than I gave it credit for off of the back. This is another card that I didn't think about too much, but just looking at it on the outside, it's like, it's so easy to kill. You're getting a 2/2 with a random bonus effect, and the bonus effects aren't that impactful unless you high roll one of like the really good 2 or 3 of them. And then, like, you buff this with Hand of Vidal, like, there's so many deal 3 damages in Hearthstone right now that we don't care.
Yeah, there's the, I mean, Warlock has 4 of them.
Exactly.
There's Brain Freeze, and
Priest
both
has
of the
a 1 mana
classes
deal
have
3.
Brain Freeze.
2 classes have Brain Freeze. Warlock has them. So that's already 4 classes that kill this with no problem. Rush Warrior, that card's gone. It's off the board. We don't, like, Paladin, like, I mean, I feel like if it's played in any deck, it's played in Paladin. Because, hey, look, you are losing first day of school. I think first day of school is getting cut. And maybe this takes that spot.
I don't know if maybe this takes that spot, but I think it's played in most decks that can apply buffs. Because then this card spirals, this card gets good. So I think it, 1, has a lot of future potential, and secondly has a lot of some potential to maybe be good this set.
Hey, you know,
I think that's about it.
Yeah, I think that's all the cards.